Christmas had always been my favorite time of year, mostly because it was predictable. The same decorations, the same music, the same quiet comfort that came with knowing nothing unexpected was supposed to happen. That's why what happened in December 2019 still feels unreal, like a memory that doesn't belong to my life. At the time, I was living alone in a mid-sized town in Ohio, working late shifts at a distribution warehouse and keeping to myself. I didn't have many close friends nearby, and my family lived several states away, so Christmas that year was going to be a quiet one. A few days before Christmas, after coming home from work, close to midnight, I noticed a small box sitting on my front porch. It was wrapped neatly in plain brown paper with a red ribbon tied around it. At first, I assumed it was a delayed package I had forgotten about, but when I picked it up, I realized there was no shipping label, no return address, no name, just a small white tag attached to the ribbon that read, "For you." That alone felt strange, but I brushed it off and brought the box inside. The house was silent, except for the faint hum of the heater. I placed the gift on the kitchen table and stared at it longer than I probably should have. Something about it felt wrong, like it didn't belong there. Eventually, I opened it. Inside was a smaller box, wrapped again, and inside that was a single object, a snow globe. It was heavy, made of thick glass, and inside it was a tiny model of a house surrounded by snow-covered trees. The house looked ordinary, but the longer I looked at it, the more familiar it felt. It took me a moment to realize why. The house inside the snow globe looked exactly like mine. Same roof shape, same porch, even the same tree near the driveway. A chill ran through me, but I laughed it off, telling myself it was just a coincidence. Lots of houses look alike, especially in suburban neighborhoods. Still, I didn't remember anyone in my life who would give me a gift like that. I set the snow globe on a shelf and went to bed, trying not to think about it. The next morning, I noticed something odd. The snow inside the globe had shifted, even though I hadn't touched it. The tiny front door of the miniature house, which I was sure had been closed before, now looked slightly open. I told myself it was just my memory playing tricks on me. After all, I had been tired when I opened it the night before. That evening, I came home to find another box on my porch. Same brown paper, same red ribbon, same white tag. For you. This time, I didn't bring it inside right away. I stood there in the cold, staring at it, feeling a growing sense of unease. Eventually, I picked it up and opened it in the living room. Inside was a small USB flash drive. No note, no explanation, just the drive. Against my better judgment, I plugged it into my laptop. There was only one video file. The timestamp showed it had been recorded earlier that day. When I clicked play, my stomach dropped. The video showed the front of my house. My house. The angle was slightly off, like the camera was being held by someone standing across the street. The footage lasted about 30 seconds, and during that time, nothing happened until the very end, when the camera slowly zoomed in on my living room window. I could see myself inside, sitting on the couch, watching TV. I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking. Someone had been watching me. Someone close enough to know my routine. I checked the locks, closed the blinds, and tried calling a friend, but it went straight to voicemail. That night, I barely slept. On Christmas Eve, the third gift arrived. This one was bigger and heavier than the others. I didn't want to open it, but I also couldn't leave it outside. I brought it in and set it on the floor. Inside was the same snow globe, but different. The house inside now had its lights on, and standing in one of the windows was a tiny figure. It took me a second to understand what I was seeing. The figure looked like me. Same posture, same clothes I was wearing at that moment. I dropped the snow globe, and it didn't break. The glass didn't even crack. Instead, the snow inside began to swirl on its own. Faster and faster, until the tiny figure inside slowly turned its head and faced me directly. My phone buzzed at the same time. A message from an unknown number appeared on the screen. "You opened it too early." I backed away, my heart racing. Another message followed. It's almost time. I didn't know what that meant, but I felt a deep, instinctive fear settle in my chest. I grabbed my keys and decided to leave the house. I didn't care where I went. I just knew I couldn't stay there. As I reached the front door, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. Sitting on the porch was another gift, bigger than all the others, wrapped perfectly, waiting. The final box was already open. Inside was a camera. It was turned on, recording. The red light blinked steadily as I stared at it. My phone buzzed again. This one is for everyone. Before I could react, the power in the house went out. The streetlights outside disappeared, and the neighborhood was swallowed by darkness. I heard footsteps outside, slow, unhurried, moving closer to the door. I stood frozen, unable to scream, unable to move. Then, through the darkness, I heard a soft knock. 3 taps, calm and patient. Just like the first night, my phone buzzed one last time. Merry Christmas. The police found me hours later, sitting in my car at the end of the street. I couldn't explain everything, not in a way that made sense. They searched my house and found no intruder, no cameras, and no snow globe. But when they reviewed neighborhood security footage, they saw something that didn't make it into the report. At exactly midnight on Christmas Day, my front door opened by itself, and a package was carried inside by someone who never appeared on camera.